Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Making headlines this morning, Bexar County hospitals preparing as the number of local COVID-19 cases climbs past 5,000.
More states reporting record numbers in new coronavirus cases, and now some are rethinking restrictions. I'm Alex Brachet in Washington. I'll have details coming up.
And taking a look outside with live cam, beautiful shot of downtown San Antonio, 76 degrees, not too bad for now. We're going to check in with Mike in just a bit.
And good morning to you. It is Thursday. It is June 18th.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Steph. How are you?
I'm good. It's Thursday. We made it.
We made it to Thursday. And as we walked in the studio this morning, I thought I saw a little blip on radar. So I want to check that and run that by Mike Osterhage.
Storm popped up late yesterday, way out to the west. And sometimes these things like to just kind of almost get a mind of their own and hold together. But this thing's dying out even just in the past half hour. It's just sort of falling apart. But also, it's just a little more humid when you step outside this morning because, 2 days ago it was wet towel, and then yesterday was a bit of a break. Now this morning we have temperatures that are a few degrees above normal. Yesterday we did actually drop down a little bit below normal, and look at these numbers. Now we're back up into the 70s just about everywhere as far as dew points are concerned. The measure of moisture in the atmosphere, 74, hello to 73 Castroville. That's kind of fog up your glasses sort of humidity. Now as far as those showers and thunderstorms, there was a significant weather advisory for some about 40-mile-per-hour winds and some very small hail earlier this morning for Uvalde County, but that was allowed to expire. And then again, just in the past few minutes, this thing has almost completely died down. We'll still have a couple of showers. I don't even think there'll be any lightning left over this morning because this thing is dying down. But then later on this afternoon, we will have a couple of more trying to pop up. Mold really went up, and it's probably going to be staying on the higher side, just given the fact we got a lot of humidity hanging around here the next few days. 86 at noon, 93, high temperature, normal high. Again, we're back to couple of showers, couple of scattered thunderstorms around here, and that'll be pretty much the case through the weekend. Details on that coming up in a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now on this Thursday morning. Officer Marcus Trujillo, how are you doing?
Well, good morning to you, Mike, and good morning everyone at home. And take a look at all that green. We're off to a great start right now, except for one little thing. So we're going to go from the map that right now not showing any accidents. We're going to go over to this TransGuide camera. This is I-10 there at Colorado, the lower level. As you see those outbound lanes going back out towards the I-10 64 interchange from the downtown area. On the lower level, we do have a stalled truck there on that shoulder, so almost looks like it's sticking out just a little bit. So you want to use caution if you're using the lower level. It's just best use the upper deck if you're leaving the downtown area in the next few minutes. Mark and Stephanie.
Thank you, Marcus. Bexar County has now passed 5,000 total cases of COVID-19. 239 new cases were added in the past 24 hours. Also, one death was reported, bringing our total to 90. According to the city's COVID-19 online dashboard, there are 241 people in San Antonio in hospitals now, 91 of them in the ICU and 43 currently on ventilators. Meanwhile, 2,348 patients have fully recovered after getting the virus.
Bexar County hospital leaders say they're better prepared to face a second wave of infections. In March, hospitals were forced to put together protocols and procedures for operation. That's because they were facing a shortage in supplies and personal protection equipment. Since the first wave was manageable, they say they were able to keep up. As the number of infections and hospitalizations goes back up, they say they're ready to implement a new plan should they need to.
What's great is our ability that we've created these different kind of emergency surge plans that instead of kind of creating it on the fly, we already know when to pull.
We were lucky in that we did not get hit with a very high number of patients very early on. So we've been fortunate that now the stockpiles of PPE across the country have been increased, that we've been able to secure enough for us that we have plenty right now.
Along with the increase in COVID-19 patients, hospitals say regular ER visits are also up. During the first wave, they were worried that many people who needed to go to the ER were not going because of fear of contracting the virus.
Nationwide, new reports show 9 states have hit record numbers in new cases, and 15 states are seeing upticks in hospitalizations. ABC's Alex Brachet has more details on how the White House is reacting.
This morning, coronavirus cases on the rise. Take Florida, for instance. It set record highs of new cases 2 days in a row. Still, beaches in Jacksonville, packed. Many people not wearing masks. They're not required.
I'm not very worried.
Florida isn't alone. COVID cases are growing in at least 20 states and Puerto Rico. The number of cases have doubled in Arizona in the last month after the state lifted lockdown restrictions. Nurses are flying in from other states to help with the surge.
I'd be able to help give back to our sister hospitals out here.
In Phoenix, a casino security guard has died from the virus. Robert Washington got infected after returning to work a month ago when the state started to reopen.
I begged him to not go to work.
Washington's daughter says he returned to work so he could pay for his insulin. Arizona's governor is now giving local governments the authority to make wearing a mask in public mandatory, a complete turnaround from his position just days ago. In Texas, San Antonio's mayor mandated residents wear masks in public on Wednesday, even though the governor is refusing to penalize people who opt not to. 15 states are reporting an increase in hospitalizations. That includes Oklahoma, where President Trump is scheduled to hold a campaign rally in Tulsa this weekend. Yesterday on Fox News, the president repeated his claim about the virus.
It's fading away. It's going to fade away, but having a vaccine would be really nice, and that's going to happen.
Vice President Pence has blamed the spike in numbers on increased testing, a notion many experts disagree with.
The bottom line is we're seeing more hospitalizations, and that's not from increased testing. That's from real people who are needing hospital care.
Former Vice President Joe Biden accused Trump of surrendering to the coronavirus pandemic, a failure he says puts the U.S. economic recovery at risk. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
4 people in the hospital this morning after what San Antonio police are calling a near head-on crash. Now happened near the intersection of South Hackberry and Indiana, south of downtown last night. Police tell us a white vehicle was heading south on Hackberry while a black vehicle was heading north. The two crashed when the black vehicle tried to turn. A 27-year-old female driver and a 1-year-old were both taken to the hospital and are expected to be okay. Meanwhile, a 17-year-old male is in critical condition and his 14-year-old male passenger is also being treated. There's no word yet on any charges.
This morning, arson investigators are looking into the cause of a fire in the 200 block of Ranch Valley in northeast Bexar County. Fire officials on the scene last night say the fire started inside a metal garage and spread to 2 homes on either side of it. One home was abandoned, but a family lived inside the home to the right of that burning house. We are told they made it out safely and no one was hurt.
San Antonio police and Crime Stoppers need your help finding the suspect or suspects responsible for the murder of 17-year-old Greg Pina. The crime happened back on March 30th around 1:30 a.m. Police say someone shot into his house in the 400 block of Aransas, killing him instantly and injuring his sister. After the incident and during an initial investigation, Police Chief William McManus said it was definitely a targeted shooting. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP. You could get a reward of up to $5,000. 438, 76 degrees.
And still ahead on GMSA, a look at why the first black model on the cover of Vogue is speaking out about discrimination.
And new details as the Justice Department tries to stop a book written by former National Security Advisor John Bolton from being published.
And taking a look outside with live cam this morning, it is 76 degrees. That shot doesn't look like there are any showers for now, but there's a chance of scattered ones later today. We're going to check in with Mike after the break.
In your morning headlines, there are new claims about President Trump from one of his former aides in a new book. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton says President Trump asked China's president for help to win re-election. Bolton also claims President Trump told President Xi Jinping to move ahead with detainment camps for China's Uyghur Muslims. Just yesterday, the president signed a bill that sanctions China for treatment of Uyghurs. He also called Bolton a liar and said Bolton broke the law by publishing classified information. The Justice Department is trying to stop the book from being published.
Today, Hong Kong Disneyland became the world's second Disney park to reopen. It closed on January 26th due to the pandemic. Guests are required to book reservations online up to 7 days in advance in order to maintain crowd control. Upon arrival, they will have their temperatures checked and be required to wear face masks. Since the virus was first identified in January, Hong Kong was quick to enact social hygiene measures. So far, the city has recorded 1,100 cases and 4 deaths.
A retail organization says people want this Father's Day to be the best one yet. The National Retail Federation expects consumers to spend $17 billion on Father's Day this year. The report says that 77% of shoppers surveyed say Father's Day is especially important this year because of the pandemic. They want their dad to have a gift that matters. 41% of shoppers told the NRF that this year's gift has to be unique or different. 36% said they wanted it to create a special memory. And I am delinquent. I need to make something happen for my dad today.
You have time.
I do have a little bit of time, especially with Amazon Prime, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good news there.
I'll get on it. 442 rather, 76 degrees.
And still ahead, are you ready to go back to the movies? We're going to have more details on Cinemark reopening theaters in Texas.
And why researchers say there's a particular group of people getting hit harder than usual by the coronavirus.
And welcome back. It is 4:45. This morning, Beverly Johnson, the first black model on the cover of Vogue, is speaking out in Washington Post about discrimination in the industry. ABC's Juju Chang has the details in today's GMA First Look.
In this morning's GMA First Look, supermodel Beverly Johnson speaking out.
There is no diversity in the upper echelon. None. At all. We don't have a seat at the table. We have no representation in the fashion world.
The modeling pioneer, the first black woman to grace the cover of Vogue, opening up to GMA about the racism she still sees in the industry after half a century in the business.
And you think that the reason behind that is there is a lack of inclusion and diversity in the upper ranks?
Particularly diversity, and particularly people of color, black people.
So what other changes does Beverly Johnson want to see in the fashion world? And what's her message for legendary Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour? It's all coming up at 7 a.m. with your GMA First Look. I'm Juju Chang, ABC News, New York.
The U.S. has been hit very hard by the coronavirus, but a new study shows that one group in particular could get hit harder.
Marilyn Moritz has details on why researchers say the uninsured are more likely to become severely ill.
A lack of insurance or living in one of the 14 states that haven't expanded Medicaid may cause a COVID-19 illness to be more severe, according to a new study. The research published in the Journal of General Internal Medicine found that more than 18 million Americans who are at an increased risk of a severe form of COVID-19 have little or no insurance. Those who don't have adequate insurance coverage may delay care because of treatment cost concerns. That could increase the risk that they will have more severe symptoms and be more likely to further spread the disease. The authors from Harvard Medical School, the City University of New York at Hunter College, and the Cambridge Health Alliance wrote that people who are more likely to be underinsured or uninsured tended to be people of color, people who have limited family income, and people who lived in rural areas. They say those who live in a state without Medicaid expansion are 52% more likely to be inadequately insured compared to people who lived in states that had expanded Medicaid. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Right now it's 4:48.
Let's go ahead and check the roads with Marcus Trujillo.
Well, right now, Mark and Stephanie, so far things still look pretty good out there. No accidents, and as you see from the indicator in green, all traffic is moving at least at the speed limit. So just watch your speed once you do head out there. Take a look, TransGuide. Right now, this is I-10 Dominion. Traveling both directions, still running smoothly, and all the way through I-10 at Ralph Fair Road and Bernie Stage Road as well. We move over to 1604 at Hausman. Not too many folks out there, and still very dark up there on that far, far northwest side. Then this is Highway 90 at Medio Creek. You can see that east and westbound lanes of Highway 90 still have more than enough room out there, so hopefully everyone will enjoy a pleasant commute this morning.
We sure hope so, all morning long.
Yeah, I'm kind of gritting my teeth because it is a little more humid this morning. So not like what it was 2 days ago, but not as nice as yesterday. So
it's all about perspective.
Right,
Yes.
and humidity is definitely going to be sticking around. So we did have a couple of thunderstorms earlier this morning. May have a few later on this afternoon. Love this picture.
Yeah, what's happening at Canyon Lake up here?
Just this, it says sweet little girl at Canyon Lake yesterday.
Just hanging out.
Yeah.
Not a shady spot?
Yep, staying in the shade. I was going to say trying to beat the heat just a little bit. So thank you very much for the KSAT Connect picture. Appreciate that. And And looking outside right now, you can see we've got kind of that hazy look. You can still see the buildings, obviously, and I keep referring to a couple of days ago when couldn't even see the skyline because the humidity was so high. And as far as radar, we've got those showers and a few thunderstorms out there to the west. And as you can see, it is not really... Well, not really hanging together too awfully well. These things are sort of falling apart as of right now, and they will continue to fall apart, but we will still have a couple of those showers kind of left over off there to the east of us, or to the west of us, pardon me. Now, as far as temperatures, we are in the mid-70s right now, actually up a little bit compared to yesterday. Yesterday, we actually finally bottomed out at 70 degrees, which is 3 below normal. Doesn't look like it's going to be the situation this morning because we have a lot more humidity out there with these dew points that are now back up into the 70s. Yesterday it was about mid-60s on average, so we had drier air, still humid, but it's a lot more humid this morning, especially around Helotes with a dew point of 74. And yeah, don't look for any big breaks in the humidity anytime soon. It is definitely going to be sticking around. It may drop a little bit in the afternoons, but not that significantly. So here's the rapid update computer model. It's initializing with some of those showers out to the west, and those just continue to fall apart. And then as the afternoon rolls on, we'll have a few more trying to pop up around here, just sort of the scattered variety, if you will. And that'll be the case tomorrow. And then pretty much, I think every day for the next week, we will have at least a couple of afternoon showers and even a few thunderstorms trying to pop up. Low 90s later on today, so right near the normal high temperature, which is 93. However, with the extra humidity, we'll be adding on about 3, 4, 5 degrees to the air temperature. So we're looking at mid and upper 90s and even some low hundreds in the Rio Grande Valley for heat index readings later on this afternoon. So as far as the forecast today, going to be up to 86 degrees at noon, partly cloudy. You know, maybe a shower trying to pop up already by noon, 1 or 2 of those showers and even a thunderstorm. 93 for a high temperature today. Again, couple of scattered thunderstorms, and then we are going to be staying right around low 90s, I think, the next couple of days. Summer will start off with a June 20th kind of a temperature, 93. A couple of afternoon showers, thunderstorms. We'll begin to heat up a little bit going into next week, and then again a few afternoon showers and thunderstorms.
Earlier this week, I saw some viewer comments on social media. They were chuckling at your gratuitous mentions of Father's Day.
Me?
Yeah.
Earlier in the week.
The blatant self-promotion that we were doing.
But you did hold off yesterday.
Would that be self-promotion when it's a holiday for all of us?
I think it's just called looking out for number one, right?
No, all the fathers.
Or we know, number two. Exactly.
Or 3 or 4, depending on the pecking order.
A little further down the list.
Just don't forget, Father's Day Sunday.
Agreed. Mike, thank you. 452, 76 degrees.
And coming up next, more details as the third largest theater chain in the country, Cinemark, is getting ready to reopen its doors. We're going to tell you when.
One of the stars of That 70s Show, charged with rape, Danny Masterson, has been facing rape accusations for years, but it seemed police couldn't make a case until now. He's been charged in Los Angeles with raping 3 women, the incidents allegedly occurring between 2001 and 2003, which would have been during the height of his That 70s Show fame. More recently, he starred in the Netflix comedy The Ranch. His attorney says in a statement the actor is innocent and the truth will come out. Masterson faces a sentence of 45 years to life if convicted. Top Chef host Padma Lakshmi branches out with the new food and travel program Taste the Nation, debuting today. And she tells me one of the reasons she wanted to do the show is because she felt there was a lack of female voices hosting these types of programs, but also a lack of immigrant voices.
I just thought it was time to hear the stories behind all the ethnic foods that Americans love to eat. Yeah. And I thought those stories were valuable and important. And I wanted the people making that food to tell us those stories themselves rather than having others translate for them that always get the spotlight.
All episodes of Taste the Nation are on Hulu today. The third largest theater chain in the country, Cinemark, will start to slowly open its doors tomorrow with 5 theaters in Dallas and hopes of all U.S. locations by mid-July. Expect increased sanitizing, staggered seating, but no requirements for moviegoers to wear masks unless cities make it mandatory. And happy birthday, Sir Paul! Founding Beatle Paul McCartney is 78 today, while country superstar Blake Shelton is 44. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In case you're wondering, Cinemark does have one theater here in town over on Northwest Loop 410.
That's right, and they just finished major renovations before the pandemic hit, so it might be a good time to check them out.
Yep, about 3 till right now, 76 degrees.
And still ahead in our next half hour, Governor Greg Abbott reacting to Bexar County's latest executive order on face masks after a rise in local COVID cases.
There's now a dating app just for dog lovers. Details coming up in Tech Bites.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Making headlines this hour, more than 24 shots ring out at a southeast side apartment complex. We'll have the details.
And taking a look outside with live cam this morning, 76 degrees. Like we were saying earlier, not too bad. A little more humid than yesterday, but not as humid as Monday. So we're going to check in with Mike to see what we can expect for the rest of your day.
And good morning to you. It's Thursday. It is June 18th.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Happy Thursday.
Let's get an update on that little blip on radar Mike was tracking last half hour.
The blip is kind of blipped. It's all done blipping almost. So we've got, and we're talking about some rain that had popped up. Actually, a thunderstorm cell that popped up off to the west and was working its way in through parts of the hill country. And in about the past hour, it went from not bad to almost nothing right now. Temperatures are up compared to yesterday. Almost back to what it was a couple of days ago, and those that top number dew points are definitely up. 71 right now, so that means more humidity this morning than what it was yesterday. Overall temperatures are up about I'll say 5 degrees compared to where we were, because we actually dropped down to 70 yesterday, a little bit below normal, and now we're back to the well, on average about mid to upper 70s around the area. And again, these numbers are up about 5, in some cases 6 degrees compared to yesterday when we were back down into the 60s everywhere. New Braunfels, the only place reporting a dew point in 60. Well, same thing with Lost Maples, but 74 in Helotes. Your glasses will fog up when you go from air conditioning outside this morning. Now, as far as what's on radar, and this thing just about an hour ago was really kind of going to town there. There was a significant weather advisory at one point early this morning for Uvalde County for some very small hail and some pretty good wind, but now that thing is just about to fizzle out. We'll still have a couple leftover showers down to the south and southwest this morning. Molds on the high side, little bits of pigweed and grass, and a few storms or showers left over to the south, mid 70s, more humid this morning. Scattered storms later on today. Temperatures just on paper, they're going to be held in check, low 90s, but it'll feel much warmer than that because humidity is going to be sticking around. Some afternoon scattered showers, thunderstorms, low 90s. That's going to be tomorrow through the weekend and next week, but may start to warm up a little bit going into next week. Details in just a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now. Here's Officer Marcus Trujillo. Anything yet, sir?
Well, as we take a look at the map, Mike's still looking pretty good out there, so no issues with the traffic. Let's move over to TransGuide. I-10 at Ralph Fair Road. You see some flashing lights, but they're in the construction area, not up on the main lane, so don't worry about that. And then I-10 at Burning Sage Road, no issues there for the east or the westbound main lanes. 37 at Hackberry, north and southbound lanes still looking pretty good. Mark?
Thank you, Marcus. Breaking news, a pizza delivery man has been shot on San Antonio's south side after police say he was involved in an alleged drug deal. It happened at the Dunes Apartments in the 6200 block of South New Braunfels.
Our Sarah Costa is live at the scene where investigators are working on collecting evidence. Sarah.
Good morning, Mark and Stephanie. Yeah, and they have a lot of evidence markers to put down because this victim was shot at, they're saying, at least 25 times in 2 different locations. One was the street right behind me, the entrance of the apartment complex, and then again at a second location where you can see investigators are still working on putting down several of those markers in the parking lot of the apartment complex. But police say this started almost 2 miles away from the complex at an Exxon gas station on Fair Avenue. A man in his 20s who was driving a pizza delivery car met up with 5 suspects at the gas station on Fair to allegedly buy drugs, according to SAPD. Now, the suspects asked him to follow them in his car to the Dunes apartment complex, police say. The victim told police when he pulled into the Dunes complex, 2 of those 5 suspects began firing at him near the entrance, then again inside the parking lot of the complex. A sergeant told us he was shot at least 25 times. However, the victim was only hit once. The suspects then drove off down South New Braunfels. Someone then drove the victim to Mission Trails Baptist Hospital. Police were called, then came to the scene after he told police what had happened. Now, the victim is in stable condition, but he was taken from Mission Trails Baptist Hospital to BAMC. And investigators will most likely be out here for another 45 minutes to an hour, continuing to collect that evidence. Live from the South Side, I'm Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News. Mark and Stephanie.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Governor Greg Abbott says he has no problem with Bexar County's latest executive order on face masks. Bexar County Judge Nelson Wolf issued the order mandating businesses put forth a new health and safety policy within 5 days. That policy must require all visitors and employees to wear a face covering. In addition, the mayor issued an addendum to his latest declaration supporting Wolf's order. Governor Abbott maintained his bottom line on his views on mandating masks for the general public.
Nothing in this executive order precludes requiring a customer to follow additional hygiene measures when obtaining services. What that means in English is that it does provide some level of either state or local control to make sure that businesses operate in ways that are safe and that reduce the spread of COVID-19.
The governor went on to say that his order only opposes mandating face masks on members of the public when they're out and about. On Demand in-depth perspective, it's the goal of a new KSAT show we're launching today. KSAT Explains is debuting with an episode focused on the unrest we've seen across the country and a look at how the protests and demonstrations have played out in our city.
For this first episode, we spoke with the co-founder of Weathered Souls Brewery. His company kicked off a campaign against police brutality. Here's RJ Marquez with a preview.
I've had experiences to where I've been riding through a neighborhood and been pulled over because I don't look like I belong there.
Weathered Souls Brewery co-founder Marcus Baskerville knows what it's like to be racially profiled. He recalls an experience he had when he was younger after he helped someone who had been stabbed at a party by taking him to a hospital.
We were basically treated as suspects of a crime, taken to the police department, held in a cell, handcuffed, all that type of stuff. And it's like, why? We legitimately saved this man's life. It's real. I mean, people that don't have to experience that every day, they'll never understand.
Baskerville is not surprised George Floyd's killing has sparked a national movement. He says it's long overdue.
People are fed up. We need change. We expect equality. And as far as that goes, if it's not given to you, we do come from a country where we have taken everything that we have.
It's this cause that prompted Baskerville to think about how he could share his voice. He's one in a very small group of black owners in the brewery industry, so he came up with the Black is Beautiful campaign.
The whole Black is Beautiful platform is to highlight, the injustices and inequalities of people of color and to basically call upon the brewing industry, which has been great at supporting other causes.
He originally created the stout beer for one of the brewery's weekly releases, but spoke to the co-founder of an Austin brewery and felt the platform could have a larger reach.
I was trying to figure out a way as a black business owner how I can put my best foot forward and assist with the message and the mission of the equality.
Hundreds of breweries, some from as far away as Japan, Brazil, the Netherlands, and Germany, have signed on to brew Black is Beautiful. And the feedback from the San Antonio community has been overwhelmingly positive.
I think San Antonio has actually been really great as far as the acceptance of people of color dealing with certain backgrounds and certain professional positions.
Baskerville says he takes pride in being a black business owner, but there are still hurdles people of color have to overcome to be treated equally and without prejudice.
And it is a serious issue, and it's not a political issue at this point. It's more of a humanity issue.
RJ Marcus, KSAT 12 News.
Weathered Souls Brewery will begin selling Black is Beautiful in July. Purchases support the Know Your Rights Camp, which was launched by former NFL player Colin Kaepernick.
The other breweries participating in the campaign agreed to support an organization working toward equality or police reform. And don't forget, KSAT Explains starts today. It's a show streamed digitally. You can find it on the KSAT TV app and on demand at KSAT.com. Armira Arthur and RJ Marcus will also be on GMSA at 9 to break down everything.
Just about 5:09, 76 degrees.
And there's a brand new dating app for people who love dogs. The details just ahead.
Millions of Americans suffer from neurological conditions. Just ahead, two friends team up to help improve their balance and strength.
And taking a look outside with live cam, no rain there for now, but there are chances of scattered showers throughout the rest of your week. We're going to check in with Mike after the break.
More than 100 million Americans suffer from a neurological condition such as Parkinson's, stroke, or multiple sclerosis.
To keep moving is key, and now two friends have teamed up and are traveling the world teaching Pilates-based training workshops to help keep neurological patients moving. Our Erica Hernandez has the details.
Today's teacher tip is working on vocal volume for our Parkinson's clients.
Mariska Breland and Megan Capel are fitness fanatics.
I was diagnosed with MS when I was 27.
But when Mariska learned she had multiple sclerosis, she wasn't sure what type of exercise was safe until she found Pilates.
It works balance, strength, and flexibility, and these are all things that you can lose with neurological conditions.
She joined forces with Megan, an expert movement trainer for 19 years, to create the Neuro Studio.
With the Neuro Studio, our big goal was to make movement accessible to everybody.
The duo wanted to share their knowledge with step-by-step online tutorials.
We have Parkinson-specific workouts, stroke-specific workouts.
Ederly Lima has MS and says balance can be a big problem. Pilates has helped her with specific foot exercises.
It's really helpful in terms of prevention of a fall.
Even her Pilates instructor has seen a big improvement.
I see more balance in her body.
For Parkinson's disease, studies show symptoms were reduced by walking outside or on a treadmill, light weightlifting, balance and gait training, Tai Chi, and dancing. And for stroke survivors, stretching, pushing to their full range of motion at least 3 times a day reduce spasticity.
If you can start prehabbing the things that might become problems, you can prevent a lot of disability later on.
Proving movement may be the best medicine. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
5:14, 76 degrees.
And still ahead, we'll have a preview of a brand new drama that focuses on Princess Diana and stars actress Kristen Stewart.
And you can now tweet with your voice. Up next, details on Twitter's new audio tweet service.
Dress your nest with fresh new color from Sherwin-Williams. Stop in or order online for curbside pickup and get 30% off paints and stains June 19th through 30th. For all your painting needs, ask Sherwin-Williams.
You get used to pet odors in your car. You think it smells fine, but your passengers smell this. Eliminate odors you've gone nose blind to for up to 30 days with the Febreze Car Vent Clip.
Wow, it smells good in here.
So you and your passengers can breathe happy.
Okay, everyone. Our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Great tasting Ensure with 9 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and nutrients to support immune health.
Never run dry, a killer attitude, or hydration. Neutrogena Hydro Boost, the #1 hyaluronic acid moisturizer, delivers 2 times the hydration for supple, bouncy skin. Neutrogena.
In today's Tech Bites, Twitter is testing voice tweets. They allow users to post more than 2 minutes of audio. It can be put out as a standalone tweet or in addition to text. It's available now only to a limited group of people. Twitter says that will change in the coming weeks. Here's a new way to keep your social distance while you fly. How about double-decker seating in premium economy? The inventor says his lie flat seats won't take up any more room than the current seats. No word if any airline is interested. Dating apps have gone to the dogs. A new app called Dig helps people find a partner who loves their dog as much as they do. Users create a profile for them and their dog, then decide if they dig a potential match. The app even suggests dog-friendly locations for the first date. We know that dating life can be pretty rough. Those are your Tech Bites.
He kept a straight face.
He did, for the most part.
Yeah.
5:18 right now. Let's check traffic with Officer Marcus Trujillo.
Right now, as we take a look at the roadways, things are moving along fairly well with no delays. Let's take another look at TransGuide. A couple of cameras here, folks. This is the downtown area. 35, 37, the interchange. Everything's moving along fairly well. And here's another interchange that tends to get busy at times. 21, 410 up there by the airport. You can see east and westbound lanes of 410 down below. And the connector ramps, so far, no issues. Mike?
Thank you very much, sir. And I don't know if we're going to be seeing this pretty of a sunrise. This was from a picture sent in yesterday from Garwood. Boy, that was gorgeous. It's a beautiful blazing sunshine out there. We do have some low clouds hanging around as well as the humidity. It is back somewhat, not like it was 2 days ago, but more humid than it was yesterday. 76 in town, 78 Castroville, and just a couple of, well, from Lost Maples, the only temperature in the 60s as of right now, and everybody except for Lost Maples has dew point temperatures up into the New Braunfels as well, but up into the 70s. 74 Helotes and Castroville. That's really getting up there. That's almost kind of window dripping sort of humidity. So it has definitely made a return, and it is going to be sticking around. We may see a slight decline in the humidity in the afternoon, but not to where it's really going to be getting all that comfortable. I mean, these dew point temperatures are definitely going to be staying up there in the upper 60s, close to 70, all the way through the next few days and going into the first part of next week. We had a couple of thunderstorm cells that developed. They came in off the mountains of Mexico late yesterday, last night, and one of them did hold together going through Uvalde County and produce a little bit of pea-sized hail and some pretty good winds, but that thing has just about all fizzled out. Even any of the leftover rain is continuing to come to an end. So again, it may be a leftover shower, and that will be about the extent of it this morning. And then later on this afternoon, we will see a couple of those showers, maybe a stray thunderstorm trying to pop up here or there. Not a great chance of rain, but we're just back to that isolated or scattered shower thunderstorm in the afternoon. That'll be the situation tomorrow as well. And again, pretty much all the way then through the weekend and even into the first part of next week. So temperatures today, we're going to be back up into the low 90s, but that's a normal high temperature. However, notice how heat index readings are going to be upper 90s and a lot of low hundreds, especially down to the southwest along the Rio Grande Valley. So humidity is going to be sticking around. Going back 12 hours, you can see where that storm cell was born out there, coming off the mountains of Mexico, and decided to hold together, and then just all of a sudden sort of fizzled on out. Far the forecast today, maybe a couple of showers trying to refire by noon. 86 degrees, partly cloudy skies, and then a high temperature today up to 93. Partly cloudy, a couple of scattered showers, thunderstorms. Most of us won't see anything, but that's going to feel a lot hotter than that up in the upper 90s. And we'll have temperatures, at least on paper, temperatures are going to be somewhat held in check. So that's good news. We will warm up a little bit going into next week, just about the mid 90s, not far from normal. Of course, we've got the humidity to deal with and one or two of those stray afternoon showers or a thunderstorm.
Okay, Mike, I like your tie this morning. That's nice.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Can I borrow it?
Maybe for Father's Day, right?
It's still a no. It's still a no. 521, 76 degrees.
And coming up next, actress Kristen Stewart taking on the role of Princess Diana. We're going to have a preview of the brand new drama that's now in production.
Today in entertainment news, a new movie about a British icon and a new video for a classic song.
CNN's David Daniel wraps it all up in our Hollywood Minute.
A million Americans look at you and they see an escape.
Kristen Stewart is going from Seaburg to playing another ill-fated woman, Princess Diana. Stewart is set to star in Spencer, set during a weekend in the early 90s when Diana decided to leave Prince Charles and the royal family and chart her own path. Production on the drama is set for early next year.
I know we've come a long way. We're changing day to day. But tell me, where do the children play?
Check out this new video for the classic environmental plea, Where Did the Children Play, by Yusuf, aka Cat Stevens. In keeping with the song's message, most of what you see was made from recycled materials and then repurposed or recycled afterward. The ocean of garbage is made of plastic debris gathered at a beach cleanup.
If something looks like a religion, people say it is a religion, and people say they are adherents of this religion, it should be recognized as such.
The religion is the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Yes, it's real, and it's the subject of the documentary I, Pastafari, a Flying Spaghetti Monster Story, which looks at believers' fight to have their religion receive the same rights and recognitions as other faiths. The doc is available on digital beginning July 9th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Now 526, 76 degrees.
And still ahead in our next half hour, President Donald Trump defending himself as two upcoming books are painting some unflattering pictures of his administration.
With the closure orders lifted, bingo is back and keeping some people up all night. But this is a whole different game. The calls and lucky balls are just as they've always been. Along with markers and bingo cards, Even overnight players must have masks now. If you're hoping to have luck rub off on you, I'll show you why you may be out of luck in this week's While You Were Sleeping.
Good morning to you. It is Thursday. It is June 18th. We have a couple of breaking news stories that we're checking with Sarah and Alicia coming up here at the top of the newscast.
But for now, let's check in with Mike to see what we can expect today with our weather.
Well, we're going to be back to the, stray afternoon shower thunderstorm that's going to be popping up around here, and more humid. It's actually more humid this morning than what it was yesterday. We had that little bit of a break from the previous day's humidity. 76 in town right now. The normal low is 73. Just to compare, yesterday we had enough dry air around here, low enough humidity to where we dropped down to 70. Not going to be down there this morning. 77 in Helotes and 78 in Castroville. A couple of the warmer temperatures, and dew point temperatures just about everywhere back up into the 70s now, especially those 74s in Helotes and Castroville. And that's really darn humid. We had a pretty good thunderstorm cell early this morning in Uvalde County. It produced a little bit of a very small hail and some decent winds, nothing severe. That is just about all completely died down. Maybe a few leftover showers out there to the west. Molds on the high side, pigweed and grass are both on the low side. And throughout the day, we are going to be up to 86 at noon, 93 for high temperature. Again, we are going to be at a normal high. It's going to feel a lot warmer than that, though, because the humidity will definitely be sticking around. Just one or two of those isolated or scattered showers and thunderstorms around here. Weekend forecast in just a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic. Here is Officer Marcus Trujillo.
Well, thank you, Mike. And folks, taking a look at the roadways right now. Still no accidents on the highway, so that's the great news. And as we continue scrolling through a couple of cameras, we can see that things are looking good. 281, 410 up there by the airport. Still no delays at this time. Just remember, once you head out, don't forget to buckle up and put away those distractions, those cell phones and those coffee cups. Stephanie?
Thank you, Marcus. New this morning, a man driving a pizza delivery car shot at 25 times. Police say it happened after a drug deal on the south side. Officers are still on the scene at the Dunes apartment complex in the 6200 block of South New Braunfels. Our Sarah Costa is live there with the latest. Sarah.
Good morning, Mark and Stephanie. And the scene will most likely wrap up in the next half hour. They've already picked up all the evidence markers, but if you just take a look right behind me where that crime scene unit vehicle is, you can kind of almost see the pizza delivery car, and that was the victim's car that he was in earlier. Police were going through it, and investigators were taking all kinds of evidence out, and the front driver window was actually missing, presumably shot out. But, police say this actually did not start here at the Dunes complex. They say it started almost 2 miles away from the complex at an Exxon gas station on Fair Avenue. A man in his 20s driving that pizza delivery car met up with 5 suspects at the gas station on Fair Avenue to allegedly buy drugs, according to the San Antonio Police Department. The suspects asked him to follow them in his car to the Dunes apartment complex. The victim told police when he pulled into the complex, 2 of those 5 suspects began firing at him near the entrance and then again at the parking lot of the complex. A sergeant told us he was shot at least 25 times. However, the victim was only hit once. The suspects then drove off down South New Braunfels. Now, someone was able to drive the victim to Mission Trails Baptist Hospital. Police were called, and then that's when they came out to the scene. Now, that victim, like we said, was shot at 25 times. He was only hit once by one of those bullets, and he is in stable condition. However, he was transferred to BAMC. Reporting live from the south side, I'm Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News. Mark and Stephanie.
Also new this morning, police searching for a suspect behind a shooting that sent one woman to the hospital around 12:30 this morning on the city's east side. Officers were called out to the Candlestick Apartments in the 4700 block of Rigsby. Our Alicia Bedetta is live downtown with the latest from police. Good morning, Alicia.
Good morning, Mark. Well, at this hour, police haven't provided much information on who that suspect could be, but there was a lot of evidence left behind. On the ground when police showed up, they found a lot of shell casings in the area near the scene, and police say a man and a woman were inside their apartment. They were watching a movie last night, and it was around 12:30 when the man told police he remembers hearing gunshots nearby, but shortly after, the man realized bullets went flying in through the window and walls of his apartment. striking the woman he was with at least once. By the time police arrived to the scene, that suspect wasn't in sight, but they did find a lot of shell casings from outside of the main entrance of Candlestick Apartments complex. That's at the corner of Diane and Delcrest Drive. Police say the victim, a woman in her 20s, they fear that she may have been struck and is suffering now from a very serious gunshot wound. She was transported to BAMC Hospital, where she's now recovering. And again, this morning, police are still looking for that suspect. Reporting live, Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
5:34, new video of Rayshard Brooks months before his death in Wendy's parking lot, sharing his struggle with life after prison.
It comes as a former Atlanta police officer is charged with his murder, prompting some officers to call out sick overnight in protest. ABC's Megan Tevrizian has the new details.
Prosecutors in Atlanta have announced that 2 officers are being charged in connection with the death of Rayshard Brooks. Former officer Garrett Rolfe faces 11 charges, including felony murder, which carries a possible life sentence or the death penalty. Police body and dash cam footage shows Brooks refusing arrest after police say he failed a sobriety test. Brooks taking one of the officer's tasers, reaching back and pointing the taser at the officer when Rolfe fires.
The city of Atlanta says you cannot even fire a taser at someone who's running away. So you certainly can't fire a gun, a handgun, at someone who is running away.
In a statement, Rolfe's lawyer says his client heard a sound like a gunshot and saw a flash in front of him. Fearing for his safety and the safety of the civilians around him, Officer Rolfe dropped his taser and fired his service weapon at the only portion of Mr. Brooks that presented to him, Mr. Brooks' back. The other officer, Devin Brosnan, is charged with aggravated assault, even though his attorney says he never pulled out a gun. The prosecutor says these photos influence his decision. They show Rolfe kicking the man. Brosnan's attorney calls the charges irrational, and he's disputing the district attorney's claim that Brosnan has agreed to testify against Rolfe. Meanwhile, other Atlanta police officers are now calling out sick in protest. Atlanta police telling ABC News overnight the department is experiencing a higher than usual number of callouts with the incoming shift. In the meantime, Brooks' family says the charges announced Wednesday are a good starting point.
This isn't like a celebration or a victory lap of watching these officers get charged. Nobody's happy, nobody's celebrating because this never should have happened.
The DA says his office interviewed 10 witnesses and watched 8 videos of the Rayshard Brooks shooting, including surveillance, body camera, and cell phone video. Megan Tevrizian, ABC News, San Diego.
Meanwhile, here at home, District 1 Councilman Roberto Trevino is requesting the council consider removing the statue of Christopher Columbus from Columbus Park downtown. It's according to a letter sent to council. He's requesting the name of the park be changed to Piazza Italia. Should the request be approved, the statue would be returned to the Christopher Columbus Italian Society, which donated it to the city.
A German pharmaceutical company has launched a clinical trial of an experimental coronavirus vaccine. CureVac is set to begin testing its version of the vaccine in 168 healthy volunteers. If the vaccine is proven safe, the German researchers will move on to test its ability in preventing COVID-19.
A record number of retail stores are expected to permanently close this year with an increase in online shopping and the pandemic. As many as 25,000 stores across the U.S. could be closed for good. JCPenney, Tuesday morning, and Pier 1 Imports have all filed for bankruptcy and announced intentions to close hundreds of stores. GNC and Victoria's Secret are also closing locations. More than half of the store closures are expected to be in shopping malls. Right now it's 5:38, 76 degrees.
And still ahead, reaction from President Donald Trump on 2 new books that are taking shots at his administration.
Bingo back and keeping some people up all night long, but it's next in While You Were Sleeping. We'll tell you why this is a whole different game now.
And taking a look outside with live cam, it is 76 degrees for now. We're going to let you know what your Father's Day forecast will be for this week. We're coming up.
5:41, if you think you know the rules for playing bingo, you may have to think again. Thanks to the pandemic, it's a whole different game, even for those who play in the wee hours of the morning.
In this week's While You Were Sleeping, our Katrina Weber revisits late night bingo and shows us why you don't have to worry about luck rubbing off on anyone else.
So next up,
All ears and eyes are on the calls
G54
and lucky balls. But inside these walls, they're not the only numbers getting attention now.
Temperature checks, we have to do temperature checks all the time.
They're making sure players at Ingram Late Night Bingo keep their cool in more ways than one.
I-28.
Just like game boards and markers, hand sanitizer and masks are also musts for almost everyone here.
The caller's away from everyone, they're not going to be close, so it just makes sense that they take off the mask and they can say the numbers like that.
I-19.
They are new rules to this age-old game that most seem to be taking in stride during the hours when many others are heading off to sleep.
B5.
Fresh off the coronavirus closures, no one here is gambling with safety. With the social distancing guidelines in effect, Lady Luck practically has to take a leap. There's no chance of that good fortune or anything else rubbing off on you. Bertina Wood is counting on luck finding her all the way in the back of the room.
This is the sign of the time, so now we're having to space everybody out.
Even before social distancing, this has been the single mother's temporary escape from reality. On some nights, these late games go until 2 or 3 in the morning.
Usually it's work and taking care of the kids, and then I can get them situated, and then I can come to bingo and relax and have a good time.
A good, safe time is what it's all about here, allowing everyone to go home a winner.
I-23.
Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Good to see Katrina and our While You Were Sleeping segment back.
Yes, good to see. And good to see people back at bingo.
I know. Some people that is their passion. 543, 76 degrees.
And coming up next, alcohol on planes could be a thing of the past, at least for now. We're going to explain.
545, there's one new book that will most likely not make it onto President Trump's summer reading list.
As CNN's John Lawrence reports, it comes from a former member of his administration, and it paints a less than flattering picture.
John Bolton's book on his time in the Trump administration contains some bombshells.
I think Putin thinks he can play him like a fiddle. I think he sees that he's not faced with a serious adversary here. I don't think he's worried about Donald Trump.
The room where it happened also accuses President Trump of asking China's Xi Jinping for help in winning the 2020 election. Bolton also claims Mr. Trump approved of Xi's regime building concentration camps for Uyghur Muslims. President Trump defended himself Wednesday night and returned a few barbs at Bolton.
He couldn't get Senate confirmed, so I gave him a non-Senate confirmed position where I could just put him there, see how he worked. And I wasn't very enamored.
Justice Department officials say they believe the book contains sensitive material that could endanger U.S. national security and are trying to prevent its release.
John Bolton should know all too well that it's unacceptable to have highly classified information from the government of the United States in a book that will be published.
This isn't the only book battle on the president's plate right now. There's also Too Much and Never Enough: How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man by Mary Trump, the president's niece. The Daily Beast reports President Trump is considering legal action to prevent that book from getting published. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
In your morning consumer headlines, if getting your vacation kicked off includes sipping on an adult beverage in the air, think again. At least not if you're flying Delta or American Airlines. Banning alcohol is just one of the changes to try and prevent the spread of the coronavirus. For Delta, you will not be able to order alcohol if you're flying stateside. It will be an option on other international flights, though. American Airlines will not be offering alcohol for most passengers either, but they will still be serving to first-class passengers and on international flights. The idea is to make sure people aren't simping on their drinks for too long so they can keep their masks on.
Ford is bringing back its iconic Mustang Mach-1. The original 250 horsepower Mach-1 was introduced in 1969. Just like that one, this new limited edition is a version between the standard Mustang and the much more extreme Shelby Mustangs. The new Mach-1 will have a version of the Mustang GT's 5.0-liter V8 engine and produce 480 horsepower. Ford's not announced how fast the car will go, but no doubt it's going to be fast. We don't know the price yet either, how many of the cars will be produced, but Ford says the new Mach-1 will be available at dealerships starting next spring. There's your next car, Steph.
Right? It's pretty. See,
It is pretty.
That's all I see. I'm the worst with telling what's what. My husband gets very annoyed.
Really?
Yes. Very annoying.
Looks like a speeding ticket waiting to happen, right?
Oh, yes, for somebody, I'm sure. Speaking of speeding tickets, anybody out on the roads right now, Marcus?
Why you got to go with speeding tickets? Well, right now.
And that one wasn't even red.
Right now, as we take a look at the roadways, the map, void of any accidents. However, we do have a couple of incidents I want to warn you about, give you a heads up. This is the first one here. You're looking at the water on the roadway. So northbound 35, the lower level, just as you're passing San Pedro, you see that that right lane is partially blocked or covered by water. So everyone's trying to stick to the left-hand lane when possible, some of them veering at the last second. So that is not a safe situation to be in. And then we still have that 18-wheeler on the lower level of I-10 outbound. So headed westbound on I-10, the lower level right there at Colorado, we still have that 18-wheeler. And the problem with the 18-wheeler is you see it is kind of partially sticking out into that far right-hand lane. So two hazards, both of them on the lower levels, both of them leaving the downtown area.
Something to watch out for. Thank you.
You know you've got a large aloe vera when it looks like a darn yucca plant.
Yes.
Or agave or something, right?
Or it looks like something from a horror movie. Wouldn't it make a great monster? You know, come up with a
updated Little Shop of Horrors kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of like. I mean, it comes to life and then, you know, walks around at night or something like that. I need to work on that story. So anyway, that's a great, I mean, beautiful. Wish I had a plant that looked like that. Thank you very much for the KSAT Connect picture.
Doesn't look like aloe to me.
It's agave.
That's just a hunch. Again, no expert.
Missing the little tines, the little thorns on the sides.
That is true.
If it was aloe.
All right, Skywatcher, we're watching you.
Yeah. Thanks for your picture.
I'm not the green thumb person, so to me it's a green plant that looks like something out of a horror movie. So anyway, no, it's a great picture though. Please, if you can, if you remember, turn your phone sideways when you sideways, just versus that way.
Just versus this.
Yeah. So
okay. Thanks for the visual.
I don't have my phone on, it's a clicker here. So anyway, excuse me, but thank you very much for the KSAT Connect picture. We appreciate it. What are you doing? Quit taking my picture, Marcus. Anyway, what are you gonna do? Post it?
People.
You gonna send it in now?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. We do have some clouds hanging around here. A lot of humidity as well. Humidity came back up. We had that break yesterday, and now it is back up. We've got temperatures in the mid-70s. So instead of being about 3 degrees below normal like yesterday, we're about 3 above normal right now, and we may drop another degree or 2 this morning. Not a lot, though. 74 is the dew point in Castroville as well as Helotes. That's when you get up that high. I mean, 70 is oppressive, but up into the mid-70s, that's just that sort of wet towel kind of humidity. And humidity, even though it will drop a little bit later on this afternoon, we're still going to see these kind of mid and upper 60s. And that means we're really going to be adding to the heat index readings later on today. So even though temperatures will be held in check, we will have much higher heat index readings. And then the humidity, of course, will kind of bump up in the morning, drop down a little bit in the afternoon, but again, not that much even Friday afternoon. And that will be the situation for the next few days. We had that thunderstorm cell that was actually produced a little bit of small hail around Uvalde and some decent winds, nothing severe. There was an advisory posted, but that thing is pretty much all just sort of fizzled on out. Computer model throughout the rest of today, we may see a few more showers, 1 or 2 scattered about later on this afternoon. Most of us won't see any rain, but again, there will be 1 or 2 of them. And if you do get one of those downpours, it won't last very long, but comes down pretty good at times. So hopefully you get some free lawn watering, and at least there is the chance for some of that free lawn watering over the next about 6-7 days, because you can't really rule out an afternoon shower or thunderstorm anytime in the next few days. Temperatures today will make it up into the low 90s. And then, like I said, the heat index, though, you can add about 4 or 5 degrees to that. So we'll see the upper 90s and even low hundreds around here. Going back in time, there was that thunderstorm cell. It was born out there, way out to around Big Bend area, and kind of just, like I said, fizzled on out. So forecast today, we will see a few more of those showers and thunderstorms trying to pop up, maybe 1 or 2 of them developing by noon. 86 and partly cloudy skies otherwise. 93 high temperature. On paper, that's where we should be. However, it's going to feel hotter than that, and pretty much the same thing the next few days. Saturday, of course, summer begins, the summer solstice in the afternoon, about 4:43, I believe it is, and then temperatures are going to be pretty close to normal. We will go up a little bit first part of next week, but again, the humidity will definitely be sticking around in a stray, afternoon thunderstorm or 2. So,
thank you, Mike.
All right, thank you. Looking forward to Sunday.
Yeah, 5:53, 76 degrees.
And
Father's Day.
Speaking of, coming up next, we'll look at where you can find some great Father's Day gift ideas, along with some places in town with Father's Day specials.
Good morning. Coming up here on GMA, an ABC News exclusive. Our very own Martha Raddatz is going one-on-one with John Bolton ahead of his bombshell book, The Explosive Accusations About President Trump, calling him erratic and foolish, claiming that he asked China to help him win re-election. We'll have the interview only here on GMA this morning.
Right now on KSAT.com, we are getting you ready for Father's Day. We have several stories up now with gift ideas, places in town with Father's Day specials, and even a way to honor deceased dads. All week long, we will be adding more stories to our website. You can find them all under the Father's Day tab in our features section. And when you're done browsing around, wish your dad a happy Father's Day by downloading their photo in our Father's Day community gallery. This is all up right now on KSAT.com. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
Just ahead, we'll have the latest on a couple of shootings that happened here in San Antonio overnight. Plus, a look at how local leaders and businesses are reacting to that new order to use face masks amid a rise in COVID-19 cases here in Bexar County. And Mark is tracking traffic right now, including that water here in the downtown area. We'll be right back.
A man driving a pizza delivery car shot at 25 times during an alleged drug deal. I'm Sarah Acosta. Coming up in just a bit, what police are saying about the suspects.
Just ahead, police are searching for the shooter that left one woman seriously injured on the city's east side. All the details this morning on GMSA.
And taking a look outside with the live cam this morning. Beautiful shot of downtown San Antonio. Happy Thursday. It is 76 degrees. We're going to check in with Mike in just a bit.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And a good morning to you. It is Thursday. It is June 18th. Good morning, Steph.
Good morning. Thanks for being with us today.
Let's check in now with Mike, see how things are looking out there as we get another look ahead to more glorious humidity here in South Texas.
I'm
upselling.
If you like humidity, you love this kind of weather. Because I know some folks, the hotter, the more humid it is, that's fantastic. We had a little bit of a break yesterday morning from the previous day, and now it is back. Not quite what it was Tuesday morning, but you'll notice when you step outside. Temperatures, the comparison to yesterday, we did dip down at one point to 70 for a low yesterday, which is 3 degrees below normal. Now we're hovering about 3 degrees above normal. 78 right now, Castroville, 75 at Port SA, as well as up around Canyon Lake. And these numbers, dew point temperatures, measure moisture in the atmosphere yesterday were down to the, on average, mid 60s. Now we're back up into the low to even some mid 70s. So yes, it is much more humid. There was a lone thunderstorm cell and some showers that had popped up over there around the Big Bend area, worked its way into the U Valley, produced some decent wind, a little bit of very, very small hail, and now everything is pretty much all completely fizzled on out. Molds on the high side, little bits of pigweed and grass. Temperatures, we're going to be staying basically steady throughout the rest of the morning, and then we will make it up into the mid 80s by noon. And there could already by noon be a couple of showers trying to pop up around here. And then later on this afternoon, we'll have one or two of those isolated showers or a thunderstorm around. 93 for a high temperature, which, yes, that is the normal high, but it's going to feel a whole lot hotter than that. Weekend forecast coming up in just a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now. And our favorite officer, Marcus Trujillo. What do you got going on?
Well, we have two issues going on, both of them here in the downtown vicinity. So if you're leaving out I-10, we have that stalled 18-wheeler. But if you're leaving out in 35 northbound, then we have water on the roadway on the lower level. So you want to try to stick to the upper level. That's not a good situation right there. We have some vehicles that are just trying to veer out of that lane, that right-hand lane, and they're veering into the left lane at the last second. And that could cause a bad accident here in the downtown area. So hopefully everyone sticks to the upper decks until we can get all this cleared up. Marcus, Stephanie?
Thank you so much, Marcus. New this morning, police searching for the suspects responsible for shooting at a pizza delivery driver 25 times during an alleged drug deal.
It happened at the Dunes apartment complex in the 6200 block of South New Braunfels. Our Sarah Acosta is there live. Now, Sarah, are investigators still on the scene?
The scene has pretty much cleared. We do have 2 officers still at the complex. They are just putting in their notes from the crime scene, but you can see that the victim's car, that pizza delivery car, is still parked in the back of this parking lot. And earlier, when police officers were going through it and collecting evidence, when they're shining their flashlights, you could see that that driver's side front window was actually pretty much knocked out, most likely by all of that gunfire. But police say this actually started almost 2 miles away from the complex at an Exxon gas station on Fair Avenue. A man in his 20s was driving that pizza delivery car. He met up with 5 suspects at the gas station on Fair to allegedly buy drugs, according to the San Antonio Police Department. The suspects asked him to follow him here to the complex, the Dunes apartment complex. The victim told police when he pulled into the complex, 2 of those 5 suspects began firing at him near the entrance and then again in the parking lot of the complex. A sergeant told us he was shot at least 25 times. We saw several evidence markers here earlier. Now, however, the victim was only hit once by those bullets. The suspects then drove off down South New Braunfels. Someone then drove the victim to Mission Trails Baptist Hospital. Police were called, then came to the scene after he told police what had happened. As for that victim, who is a man in his 20s, he is in stable condition with that single gunshot wound. However, he was transferred from Mission Trails Baptist Hospital to BAMC earlier this morning. Live from the South Side, I'm Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News. Mark and Stephanie.
Police are still looking for a suspected shooter who shot a woman at an East Side apartment complex. Police called out to the Candlestick Apartments in the 4700 block of Rigsby right around 12:30 this morning. That is just down the road from Southside Lions Park East. Alicia Beretta is live downtown. What have police said about the victim's condition, Alicia?
Mark, well, it's not looking good. Police fear the victim, a woman in her 20s, suffered from a life-threatening gunshot wound. And this morning, police are still looking for that suspect. This is what police know now about this shooting. They say a man and a woman were inside their apartment watching a movie around midnight. The man told police he remembers hearing gunshots nearby around 12:30 and multiple bullets flying in through the window and walls of his apartment. He quickly realized the woman he was with had been shot at least once. Once police arrived, no suspect was in sight. It's not clear if the suspect took off on foot or in a vehicle, but police did find a lot of shell casings from outside of the main entrance of Candlestick Apartments properties. That's at the corner of Diane and Delcrest Drive. They'll use that to identify what type of gun was used. Again, this morning, they don't have information on who that suspect could be. And police tell us that the victim, again, she was taken to BAMC Hospital where she's recovering from a life-threatening gunshot wound. Reporting live, Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
All right, thank you, Alicia. San Antonio Police and Crime Stoppers need your help solving 2 robbery cases. The first happened on Sunday, June 14th at the H-E-B on the corner of Northwest Military Highway and Wurzbach Parkway. Police say this suspect walked into the store and demanded money from one of the cashiers. Then the suspect ran out and jumped into a vehicle to get away.
We're also looking for this man caught on camera trying to steal money from a cash register. It happened back on May 30th at the SA Food Mart in the 4600 block of Thousand Oaks. Police say he was not able to open the register, but the suspect was able to get away. If you recognize the person in either of these cases, call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP.
239 COVID-19 cases were confirmed in Bexar County yesterday, pushing the total since the pandemic began above 5,000. That has led to a new executive order in Bexar County. Bexar County Judge Nelson Wolf issued the order requiring that businesses create a new health and safety policy within 5 days, which must require all visitors and employees to wear a face covering. In addition, the mayor issued an addendum to his latest declaration supporting Wolf's order. Governor Greg Abbott says he has no problem with Bexar County's latest executive order on face masks.
Nothing in this executive order precludes requiring a customer to follow additional hygiene measures when obtaining services. What that means in English is that it does provide some level of either state or local control to make sure that businesses operate in ways that are safe and that reduce the spread of COVID-19.
The governor went on to say that his order only opposes mandating face masks on members of the public when they are out and about.
Meanwhile, local businesses are adjusting rapidly to the executive order as the number of cases surges here at home. As soon as the owner of Luther's Cafe heard about Bexar County's new executive order yesterday, they posted signs on the restaurant's door. As the coronavirus cases continue to rise, the manager, Scott Lee Ross, says everyone needs to do their part.
I think it's responsible to wear a mask. It's not just about protecting yourself, it's about protecting other people.
I agree with it 100%. I think that should be the way it is overall, because I think that's the only way that we're going to stay safe as a community.
At this salon, staff members wear masks and face shields. Customers get their temperature checked when entering the building. The salon owner says they were closed for 8 weeks during the pandemic and they are not taking any chances.
Bexar County hospital leaders say they're better prepared to face this second wave of infections. In March, hospitals were forced to put together protocols and procedures for operations. Since the first wave was manageable, they say they were able to keep up, practice, and prepare. As the number of infections and hospitalizations go up, they say they're ready to implement a new plan should they need to.
What's great is our ability that we've created these different kind of emergency surge plans that instead of kind of creating it on the fly, we already know when to pull.
We were lucky in that we did not get hit with a very high number of patients very early on. So we've been fortunate that now the stockpiles of PPE across the country have been increased, that we've been able to secure enough for us that we have plenty right now.
Along with the increase in COVID-19 patients, hospitals say regular ER visits are also up. During the first wave, they were worried that many people who needed to go to the ER were putting it off out of fear of contracting the virus.
It's now 10 minutes past the hour, 76 degrees.
A local brewery started a new project to bring awareness to police brutality. We will learn more about Weathered Souls and how they are tackling a subject that many are focused on around the country.
Millions of Americans suffer from neurological conditions. After the break, we'll meet up with two friends who teamed up to help improve balance and strength in order to help their brains.
And taking a look outside with live cam. What did you call it? You said glorious humidity?
Oh yeah, I was upselling. I was spinning it, because not everybody is crazy about it.
Right, of course not. But hey, there's some studies that say it's good for your skin, so there's the positive there. We'll be right back.
Today's teacher tip is working on vocal volume for our Parkinson's clients.
Mariska Breland and Megan Capel are fitness fanatics.
I was diagnosed with MS when I was 27.
But when Mariska learned she had multiple sclerosis, she wasn't sure what type of exercise was safe until she found Pilates.
It works balance, strength, and flexibility, and these are all things that you can lose with neurological conditions.
She joined forces with Megan, an expert movement trainer for 19 years, to create the Neuro Studio.
With the Neuro Studio, our big goal was to make movement accessible to everybody.
The duo wanted to share their knowledge with step-by-step online tutorials.
We have Parkinson-specific workouts, stroke-specific workouts.
Ederly Lima has MS and says balance can be a big problem. Pilates has helped her with specific foot exercises.
It's really helpful in terms of prevention of a fall.
Even her Pilates instructor has seen a big improvement.
I see more balance in her body.
For Parkinson's disease, studies show symptoms were reduced by walking outside or on a treadmill, light weightlifting, balance and gait training, Tai Chi, and dancing. And for stroke survivors, stretching, pushing to their full range of motion at least 3 times a day reduce spasticity.
If you can start prehabbing the things that might become problems, you can prevent a lot of disability later on.
Proving movement may be the best medicine. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
6:15, 76 degrees.
So we had some problems on the lower level of I-10. Let's go ahead and check in with Marcus Trujillo. Is it still there?
I think it was 35, wasn't it, Marcus?
One of them
lower
was
level
I-10.
35?
We actually had problems on both I-10 and 35. And both the lower levels, so you're both right. You both win a prize. Mike, tell them what they've won.
You've won a windmill. Anyway.
You've won a windmill at a sunset. Right now, as we take a look at the roadways, looks the 18-wheeler still in place, but it looks as if possibly that lower level 35, that water's finally clearing out of that area, making it a little less hazardous. Still a little slick down there, but that should dry off here shortly.
You win an alarm clock that goes off at 2 o'clock in the morning every morning, so.
Yay.
You can always use that.
Don't everybody yell at once.
Speaking of windmills,
Yes.
here's another. Look at this. I love the windmill pictures.
Beautiful.
Yesterday we had a few leftover clouds. It was a gorgeous sunset. It's a great looking shot. Thank you very much for the KSAT Connect picture. The only clouds to see in the western sky. I love that. That'd make a great picture over your couch, wouldn't it? All right, we've got not as pretty a picture this morning because we have a lot more humidity out there. Temperatures are about 5-6 degrees above what they were at this time yesterday, in the mid 70s on average, even a couple of upper 70s out there. And yep, dew points. We're down in the 60s yesterday, and now most everybody is well up into the 70s, and even those 74s, keep pointing that out because 70, it gets to be oppressive humidity usually for a lot of folks, and then you get up into the mid 70s, 74 and above there, and that's, when you really windows start to drip or your glasses start to fog up. So that's the way it is in many locations, and we will see a slight drop in the humidity, but that's only dropping from where it is right now. So that means we'll still be in the mid and upper 60s later on today. So with that extra humidity, we are going to be dealing with heat index readings about 4, 5, 6 degrees above the actual air temperatures. We will see about the same situation tomorrow. So just get used to I don't know if you can get used to it, but grin and bear it because the humidity is going to be sticking around. We had some storms out to the west, pretty much all fizzled out. There may be a few leftover sprinkles here and there in and around the area. A lot of that showing up, though, some just clutter around the radar sites. We'll have a few more showers popping up around later on this afternoon. Few and far between, sort of like a few days ago. And if you get one of these showers, could have a nice, decent downpour very quickly, and they won't last all that long. And we'll do the same thing again tomorrow and actually going on into the weekend. We're still going to keep that chance for a few showers around here in the afternoon showers, a couple of thunderstorms. Temperatures today, low 90s, so right about where it should be. Normal high temperature, 93. We'll have some mid to upper 90s in the Rio Grande Valley, but factor in the humidity, which isn't going down all that much. So we'll see these upper 90s. Bless you. Upper 90s and low hundreds for heat index readings later on today. So that thunderstorm cell that was born way out there right around the Big Bend area decided to hold together, and then it all of a sudden just died off about an hour or so ago. Around the country, there's not really a heck of a lot, again, going on up to the north and off to the east of us, and we've got this ridge right in the middle, but it's not sitting just right down on top of us. Keep emphasizing that. If that high was just centered right on top of us, it would really push down on the atmosphere, but it's just off, so it's not doing a couple of things. It's not preventing showers from popping up, and it's not keeping temperatures too awfully hot. So we will stay close to normal readings throughout the weekend and maybe warm up a little bit next week. And also we have those stray showers or a couple of thunderstorms. And then going into the latter part of next week, still hoping that a bit of a low is going to try and develop down here and maybe enhance our rain chances because, yeah, still to this point, officially at the airport, we've only had 0.09 of an inch of rain so far in the month of June. 86 degrees today at noon, partly cloudy skies. A couple of showers going to try and start developing by noon, and 1 or 2 of them out there today, maybe a thunderstorm. 93, but it will feel like the upper 90s. Pretty much same thing tomorrow as well as Saturday. Of course, summer begins late in the afternoon, the official start of summer, and then going into the first part of next week. Not much really changes all that much, although we will have temperatures getting into the mid-90s, a couple of afternoon showers or a thunderstorm. I want to just give a shout out to our co-workers. You know, he sneezed and boy, they just came to the rescue.
They came out of nowhere with everything, wipes, tissue,
sanitizer,
paper towels, and hand sanitizer. Yeah, probably a little bit too much, a little too liberal. But I guess you can't be too safe these days, right?
Oh, no, as soon as he sneezed, they were here. Thanks, Kev.
Thanks, Kevin, Marcus. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you, Mike. 620, 76, anyone? Okay, 620, 76 degrees.
And a local company kicked off a campaign against police brutality. After the break, we're going to see how Weathered Souls Brewery is taking on a subject that has captured the nation's attention.
Here's your secret word of the day. Enter it on KSAT.com/Circle K for a monthly chance to win free gas for a year. Every entry wins a Polar Pop. We are Circle K.
It's starting to happen every day. People are surprising themselves the moment they realize they can do more with less asthma. thanks to Dupixent, the add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma. Dupixent isn't for sudden breathing problems. It can improve lung function for better breathing in as little as 2 weeks and help prevent severe asthma attacks. It's not a steroid, but can help reduce or eliminate oral steroids. Don't use if allergic to Dupixent. Serious allergic reactions can occur, including anaphylaxis, which is severe. Tell your doctor right away about signs of inflamed blood vessels such as rash, shortness of breath, chest pain, tingling, or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection and before stopping any asthma medicines, including oral steroids. Do more with less asthma. Talk to your doctor about Dupixent.
In this morning's GMA First Look, supermodel Beverly Johnson speaking out.
There is no diversity in the upper echelon. None. Like, at all. We don't have a seat at the table. We have no representation in the fashion world.
The modeling pioneer, the first Black woman to grace the cover of Vogue, opening up to GMA about the racism she still sees in the industry after half a century in the business.
And you think that the reason behind that is there is a lack of inclusion and diversity in the upper ranks?
Particularly diversity, and particularly people of color, Black people.
So what other changes does Beverly Johnson want to see in the fashion world? And what's her message for legendary Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour? It's all coming up at 7 a.m. with your GMA First Look. I'm Juju Chang, ABC News, New York.
On demand, in-depth perspective. It's the goal of a new KSAT show we're launching today.
KSAT Explains is debuting with an episode focused on the unrest we've seen across the country. It's a look at how the protests and demonstrations have played out in our city and an examination of what it means to be Black in San Antonio.
For the first episode, we spoke to co-founder of Weathered Souls Brewery, Marcus Baskerville. His company kicked off a campaign against police brutality. Our RJ Marquez has a preview.
I've had experiences to where I've been riding through a neighborhood and been pulled over because I don't look like I belong there.
Weathered Souls Brewery co-founder Marcus Baskerville knows what it's like to be racially profiled. He recalls an experience he had when he was younger after he helped someone who had been stabbed at a party by taking him to a hospital.
We were basically treated as suspects of a crime, taken to the police department, held in a cell, handcuffed, all that type of stuff. And it's like, why? We legitimately saved this man's life. It's real. I mean, people that don't have to experience that every day, they'll never understand.
Baskerville is not surprised George Floyd's killing has sparked a national movement. He says it's long overdue.
People are fed up. We need change. We expect equality. And as far as that goes, if it's not given to you, we do come from a country where we have taken everything that we have.
It's this cause that prompted Baskerville to think about how he could share his voice. He's one in a very small group of Black owners in the brewery industry, so he came up with the Black is Beautiful campaign.
The whole Black is Beautiful platform is to highlight, the injustices and inequalities of people of color and to basically call upon the brewing industry, which has been great at supporting other causes.
He originally created the stout beer for one of the brewery's weekly releases, but spoke to the co-founder of an Austin brewery and felt the platform could have a larger reach.
I was trying to figure out a way as a Black business owner how I can put my best foot forward and assist with the message and the mission of equality.
Hundreds of breweries, some from as far away as Japan, Brazil, the Netherlands, and Germany, have signed on to brew Black is Beautiful. And the feedback from the San Antonio community has been overwhelmingly positive.
I think San Antonio has actually been really great as far as the acceptance of people of color dealing with certain backgrounds and certain professional positions.
Baskerville says he takes pride in being a Black business owner, but there are still hurdles people of color have to overcome to be treated equally and without prejudice.
And it is a serious issue, and it's not a political issue at this point. It's more of a humanity issue.
RJ Marcus, KSAT 12 News.
Weathered Souls Brewery will begin selling Black is Beautiful in July. Purchases will support the Know Your Rights camp, which was launched by former NFL player Colin Kaepernick.
The other breweries participating in the campaign agreed to support an organization working toward equality or police reform. And don't forget, KSAT Explains starts today. It's a show streamed digitally. You can find it on the KSAT TV app and on demand at KSAT.com.
And today on GMS 8 at 9, Myra Arthur and RJ Marquez will join us to tell us more about our new project here at KSAT.
And time now, 6:28 and 76 degrees.
Here's a look at what is ahead on GMSA.
With the closure orders lifted, bingo is back and keeping some people up all night. But this is a whole different game. The calls and lucky balls are just as they've always been. Along with markers and bingo cards, even overnight players must have masks now. If you're hoping to have luck rub off on you, I'll show you why you may be out of luck in this week's While You Were Sleeping.
An alleged drug deal involving a pizza delivery man turns violent when that man was shot at least 20 times. Good morning, I'm Sarah Acosta. In just a bit, we'll tell you that victim's condition.
More states reporting record numbers in new coronavirus cases, and now some are rethinking restrictions. I'm Alex Brachet in Washington. I'll have details coming up.
And outside with live cam, a few of you have seen maybe a very stray shower early this morning, but here in the city, it's looked like this pretty much all morning long in the early morning hours. Good morning to you. It is Thursday. It is June 18th.
Thanks for joining us this morning.
How's the commute looking so far, Marcus?
Well, we still have that stalled 18-wheeler down on the lower level of I-10 on those westbound lanes right there by Colorado. And we do have officers out there blocking off that lane on the far right-hand lane because it is partially sticking out into the travel lane.
Also seemed like it was in a bad spot where
it's right. Yeah, it's right on that curve. So the good news is this isn't where the roads are slick. That's northbound 35. But now that the water started to dry up, that should be a little bit better.
And it wasn't from any rain here.
Nope.
Probably some sort of a leak or something like that.
That or somebody left the water running.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a lot of water in the atmosphere, we'll put it that way, because there's a bunch of humidity and you can sort of see that haze hanging over downtown once again. Temperatures are, well, compared to yesterday, we're about 5-6 degrees warmer than that. We actually dropped down below normal yesterday. Now we're on the above normal side, and these numbers have definitely come back up. The dew points, you don't like seeing them in the 70s unless you really, really love the humidity, and that's the case in Helotes and Castroville with extremely high humidity. We had those that thunderstorm cell that moved through from the Big Bend area in toward Uvalde earlier this morning, and now a couple of more showers have tried to pop up out there, kind of splitting the difference between Uvalde and Sabinal, maybe a few little sprinkles here in the Bandera area, and these look like they want to drift up to the north ever so slightly. We will have a couple of showers, a couple of thunderstorms scattered about the area later on this afternoon, as well as one or two this morning. Molds on the high side, pigweed and grass are both low, and a couple of those showers off to the west. Then partly cloudy skies later on today. Again, a couple of scattered showers, a thunderstorm or two, very few and far between. Low 90s. But that doesn't tell the whole story because we have the humidity, so it's going to feel like the upper 90s and even low hundreds over in the Rio Grande Valley. Some scattered afternoon thunderstorms around, low 90s. But again, we got the humidity to deal with. We've got humidity all through the forecast, and then actually a bit warmer next week with still a couple of afternoon showers with thunderstorms. Details coming up. Time saver traffic right now. So the incident on 10. Is that the only thing going on?
Right now, that's the only one. So that one 30 northbound main lanes of 35, we saw the water, most of that water is already drained away, but road's still just a little slick right now, but not too bad. But this is the concern right now. So you're leaving the downtown vicinity, you decide to take the lower level of I-10, but right after you pass the Colorado exit ramp, that's when the road begins to turn, and that's where you have this tractor trailer there partially sticking out into the roadway. Now, we do have officers out there forcing everybody on that far left-hand lane, so if at all possible, just stick to the upper decks. Mark?
Thanks, Marcus. Developing story this morning here on KSAT 12. A man driving a pizza delivery car was involved in an alleged drug deal. Turned violent when suspects fired up to 25 shots at him. This happened on the south side early this morning at the Dunes Apartments on South New Braunfels. Our Sarah Costa is live at the scene. Sarah, do we know that man's condition yet?
He's actually in stable condition, Mark. After being shot at 25 times, he was actually only hit one time. The scene is clear here, but I do want to show you the victim's pizza delivery car was left behind. Now the sun's up, we can see clearly the doors were left open and the windows were, you can see the shattered glass after those windows were shot out. Now police say the scene actually did not start here. It started about 2 miles away at an Exxon on Fair Avenue. At an Exxon gas station on Fair Avenue, a man in his 20s was driving that pizza delivery car, met up with 5 suspects at the gas station to allegedly buy drugs. That's what the San Antonio Police Department told us. Now, the suspects asked him to follow
follow them in his car to the Dunes apartment complex. The victim told police when he pulled into the complex, 2 of those 5 suspects began firing at him near the entrance. Then again, once he parked his car at the parking lot of the complex, the suspects then drove off down South New Braunfels. Now, someone was able to drive the victim to the hospital. He was taken to Mission Trails Baptist Hospital. And like we said earlier, he is in stable condition. However, he has been transferred to BAMC. Live from the South Side, I'm Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News. Mark and Stephanie.
Thanks, Sarah. New reports show 9 states have hit record numbers in new coronavirus cases. 15 states are seeing upticks in hospitalizations.
That includes Oklahoma, where President Donald Trump is scheduled to hold a campaign rally this weekend. ABC's Alex Perche has more.
Good morning. Yeah, those words coming from President Trump just days ahead of his scheduled rally in Tulsa this weekend. But we're starting to see some states reverse course, now cracking down on people not adhering to safety measures, something they didn't enforce just days ago. This morning, coronavirus cases on the rise. Take Florida, for instance. It set record highs of new cases 2 days in a row. Still, beaches in Jacksonville, packed. Many people not wearing masks. They're not required.
I'm not very worried.
Florida isn't alone. COVID cases are growing in at least 20 states and Puerto Rico. The number of cases have doubled in Arizona in the last month after the state lifted lockdown restrictions. 15 states are reporting an increase in hospitalizations. That includes Oklahoma, where President Trump is scheduled to hold a campaign rally in Tulsa this weekend. Yesterday on Fox News, the president repeated his claim about the virus.
It's fading away. It's going to fade away, but having a vaccine would be really nice, and that's going to happen.
Vice President Pence has blamed the spike in numbers on increased testing, a notion many experts disagree with.
The bottom line is we're seeing more hospitalizations, and that's not from increased testing. That's from real people who are needing hospital care.
Former Vice President Joe Biden accused Trump of surrendering to the coronavirus pandemic, a failure he says puts the U.S. economic recovery at risk. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
6:38 back here at home. District 1 Councilman Roberto Trevino and the Christopher Columbus Italian Society have reached an agreement about a downtown statue. According to a letter sent to City Council, the statue of Christopher Columbus will be returned to the society instead of staying up in the plaza. The name of the park will also be renamed Piazza Italia. The society says they'll work with the city to find another image or symbol to place in the park to honor Italian-American heritage here in the Alamo City.
In Atlanta, the police department telling ABC News they are seeing a high number of officers call out sick this morning. Department officials say the officers are protesting the charges against 2 Atlanta police officers in the killing of Rayshard Brooks. Prosecutors charged the police officer who shot and killed Brooks and kicked him on the ground with felony murder. The other officer who stood on Brooks' shoulders when he was on the ground was charged with aggravated assault and other crimes.
The U.S. Weekly Jobless Claims report will be released today. First-time unemployment benefits have fallen as of late and amid the pandemic. There are still many who need financial help from the government. Nearly 45 million workers were forced to file for initial unemployment benefits since the middle of March. Right now, it is 6:39, 76 degrees.
And you may think you know how to play bingo, but the pandemic has changed how people are playing now. After the break, we're going to take a look at the new rules.
Right now on KSAT.com, we are getting you ready for Father's Day. We have several stories up now with gift ideas, places in town with Father's Day specials, and even a way to honor deceased dads. All week long, we will be adding more stories to our website. You can find them all under the Father's Day tab in our features section. And when you're done browsing around, wish your dad a happy Father's Day by downloading their photo in our Father's Day community gallery. This is all up right now on KSAT.com. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
6:43. If you think you know the rules for playing bingo, you may have to think again. Thanks to the coronavirus pandemic, it's a whole different game, even for those who play in the wee hours of the morning.
In this week's While You Were Sleeping, our Katrina Weber revisits late night bingo and shows us why you don't have to worry about luck rubbing off on anyone else.
All ears and eyes are on the calls
G54
and lucky balls. But inside these walls, They're not the only numbers getting attention now.
Temperature checks, we have to do temperature checks all the time.
They're making sure players at Ingram Late Night Bingo keep their cool in more ways than one. Just like game boards and markers, hand sanitizer and masks are also musts for almost everyone here.
The caller's away from everyone, they're not going to be close, so it just makes sense that they take off the mask and they can say the numbers like that.
I-19. They are new rules to this age-old game that most seem to be taking in stride during the hours when many others are heading off to sleep. B5. Fresh off the coronavirus closures, no one here is gambling with safety. With the social distancing guidelines in effect, Lady Luck practically has to take a leap. There's no chance of that good fortune or anything else rubbing off on you. Bertina Wood is counting on luck finding her all the way in the back of the room.
This is the sign of the time, so now we're having to space everybody out.
Even before social distancing, this has been the single mother's temporary escape from reality. On some nights, these late games go until 2 or 3 in the morning.
Usually it's work and taking care of the kids, and then I can get them situated, and then I can come to bingo and relax and have a good time.
A good, safe time is what it's all about here, allowing everyone to go home a winner. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Over at Ingram Bingo. Know what I realized last night with the face mask thing? If we're not careful, we all become the teacher from Peanuts, from the Charlie Brown specials.
We're speaking.
I was at a restaurant last night, had to ask him 2 or 3 times to tell us what the special was.
Yes, and if you're already soft-spoken, forget about it.
Right.
You have to take it up 3 notches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just anchoring?
Well,
Yeah,
we
you never
know.
know.
Exactly.
6:46 right now.
Let's check in with Marcus Trujillo.
Okay, I'll add to the antics. So will it sound more like the teacher from Peanuts or more like the drive-thru?
You know what? You're onto something. It may be more that.
Right now, Highway 151 at 410. I know, folks, we need to be more serious. No problems right now. So that's the great news. We have no accidents out there on the highways. Now, that water that was 35 at San Pedro, that is drying up. So that's the great news. But we do still have that tractor trailer down there. So if you're leaving the downtown area, you normally use I-10, you want to stick to the upper deck, not the lower deck, because everything's down just to 1 lane right past the Colorado exit ramp, right as the roadway begins to make that bend.
Mm-hmm. There's also mask envy now. You see somebody like a Spurs mask. Oh, nice.
That's
Where'd you get
true.
that one?
Best drive-through speaker ever was a McDonald's in Corpus Christi, I remember years ago.
What happened?
Corpus?
It was perfect.
Oh, perfectly clear.
Oh,
It was
my
clear.
goodness gracious, yeah.
Yeah. They were perfectly clear. Did you muffle your voice while ordering?
No, I mean, very, because some are like, wow, did you get that thing from, a drive-in movie theater from the 50s? So
It can be hard to understand
anyway,
sometimes.
hey, it is humid out there this morning. Humidity has definitely started to return, and not like what it was a couple of days ago, but it is still pretty darn humid out there. So we've got temperatures that are in the 70s as of right now. I'm going to go check something real quick because I think I have the wrong little bit of graphics here punched up, and I want to get a different show going. Yes, I do.
This is where we need the elevator music. Yeah, no. Almost like when people are scribbling their answers on that game show.
Because I wanted to show the KSAT Connect picture right now. That's what I wanted to do.
Oh, look, Marcus is over there.
There you go.
How's your ventriloquism, Mike?
Wow, really? Here, get up there, Marcus, and act through. This is the picture I want to show. I love this shot. Just a nice little country road, blue skies out there. Oh, that's a pretty picture. Nice and peaceful and tranquil. Thank you very much for the KSAT Connect picture. And as far as now my clicker won't work. Really? There we go.
There you go.
There's all the humidity out there. Is that you, Marcus, messing with me?
That's not me.
75 in
That's not me.
78 in Castroville. We're actually 5 degrees above where we were at this time yesterday. We had that some lower humidity yesterday and actually below normal temperatures, but that's not the situation this morning because of, in part, these numbers. Helotes, your dew point is now up to 75. So really, that's, I always jokingly sometimes say wet towel kind of humidity, but that's what it feels like when you walk outside. It's going to be like walking into a rainforest out there. And we will see a bit of a decline in the humidity later on this afternoon, but we still have these dew points well up into the mid to upper 60s around here, which means we'll have a heat index to deal with later on today. So it will feel like mid-upper 90s and low hundreds around here. Same thing tomorrow. A lot of humidity in the morning and then slight drop in the afternoon, and we'll just do that over and over again going into the weekend. And we've had those few showers off to the west. That storm died down, but now we've got another little batch of rain out there just to the east of Uvalde, and maybe a couple little sprinkly showers that have started to show up now in northeastern Medina County, heading up in toward portions of the hill country. So you may run into one or two of those little showers out to the west, and then we'll have not only a few of those this morning, but also a couple of them trying to pop up and drop a little bit of rain later on this afternoon. And it won't be as though it's going to be long-lasting storms, but yes, they can drop some fairly decent rain in a pretty short period of time. And that's just going to be the situation each and every day for about the next week. Those afternoon, very isolated showers and a couple of thunderstorms. 86 degrees today at noon. Partly cloudy skies. Again, a couple of showers are going to continue to try and pop up around here. Partly cloudy today, 93. But again, the heat index will make it feel like it's in the upper 90s. And over toward the Rio Grande Valley, we'll definitely have some heat index readings getting up into the low hundreds today. Tomorrow, pretty much same situation. A lot of humidity in the morning and still humid in the afternoon. A stray thunderstorm. Same thing for the first day of summer. It officially begins late Saturday afternoon, and the next week will be looking like temperatures getting into the mid-90s.
And for people who maybe missed all our other mentions this week,
don't forget,
Sunday is
Father's Day.
Father's Day. The way he says it, Father's Day.
Hint, hint.
Thank you,
Got it, Mike. Thank you.
Just a gentle reminder.
And more gentle reminders to come. 650, 75 degrees.
And tomorrow is Juneteenth, the day that commemorates the final reading of the Emancipation Proclamation in Galveston back in 1865. Join us tomorrow on GMSA, where we look at how you commemorate the day here in San Antonio.
Outside with live cam. More traffic coming up, and the news you need to know before you go on this Thursday morning.
Good morning. Coming up here on GMA, an ABC News exclusive. Our very own Martha Raddatz is going one-on-one with John Bolton ahead of his bombshell book, The Explosive Accusations About President Trump, calling him erratic and foolish, claiming that he asked China to help him win re-election. We'll have the interview only here on GMA this morning.
This morning, police are searching for the suspects that shot at a pizza delivery man 25 times during an alleged drug deal on the south side. Good morning, I'm Sarah Acosta. Police say this happened at 2:50 this morning at South New Braunfels in the 6200 block. Police say this started almost 2 miles away from the complex where the man was shot at an Exxon gas station on Fair Avenue. A man in his 20s driving a pizza delivery car met up with 5 suspects at the gas station to allegedly buy drugs, according to police. The suspects asked him to follow them in his car to the Dunes apartment complex. The victim told police when he pulled into the complex, 2 of those 5 suspects began firing at him. A sergeant told us he was shot at least 25 times. However, the victim was only hit once and is in stable condition. The suspects then drove off down South New Braunfels. Someone was able to drive the victim to Mission Trails Baptist Hospital. Police say that man is in stable condition. However, he was taken to BAMC. From the south side, I'm Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News.
And right now, folks, the only hazard we have out there is this 18-wheeler on the westbound lanes of I-10, lower level, right at Colorado.
Mike? Very warm and humid out there. Temperatures are in the mid-70s right now, and boy, these numbers are up in the 70s. That means it's humid. A couple of showers have started to pop up now in western Bexar County. We'll have a couple of showers around, maybe even a stray thunderstorm later on today. High temperature 93, but it'll feel like the upper 90s.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a great morning, everybody. Good Morning America is coming up next. We'll see you back here in a couple hours for GMSA at 9.